edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. My guest this evening is Chuck Lewis from the HK Holiday Show and Terry Eichel with the Connecticut Sports Foundation. Guys, welcome. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for coming down. So, Chuck, tell us a little bit about Chuck Lewis and his involvement with the HK Holiday Show and how everything got started.
Well, Peter, thank you again for having me as your
problem.
guest again this year. I've been at Haddam-Killingworth High School for the last 18 years. This will be my 18th holiday show. Wow. And what I inherited was an opportunity where I'm able to take advantage of a wonderful program that we have at Haddam-Killingworth High School, which is all about media and communications and using the vehicle of television. We actually host the educational component of the cable that serves the 12 towns in this area that you're seeing this channel on. And it gives us an opportunity for me to use that vehicle to facilitate activities where the students can learn to be great digital storytellers. And so the holiday show, it presents a wonderful opportunity for the students to learn about media communications and behind the scenes and operating studio equipment, at the same time using the power of TV to give back to our community. So I've been very fortunate. It's a tremendous amount of work, but I've been very fortunate to been part of that. And in the 18 years that I've been doing it, we probably, the students and I and the community together, have raised probably over $500,000 to benefit a variety of different organizations and people in our area that are in need, and also just helping raise awareness about what these great organizations are all about.
Now, do you have a favorite memory from any of the holiday shows? Anything that sticks out?
I don't, but I will tell you that my favorite part in the holiday shows, especially when we've been dealing with when the benefactor has been a specific child in need in our community, and that child's been part of it, those have always been probably the most memorable for me, and we've done a number of those over the years, because having those children around that day, and then the focus of the show and the community giving back to help these children, it's really, it warms your heart, because these kids are so genuine and they're special in every way, and the kids and I will love working with the families and these children, because it's such an amazing experience.
Exactly. And who is Terry Eichel, and what is the Connecticut Sports Foundation?
So I am the Director of Development and Special Events for the Connecticut Sports Foundation.
All right.
And we provide financial assistance for cancer patients in Connecticut. We help them pay basic living expenses, such as rent, mortgage, utilities, transportation costs. You know, if you've been diagnosed with cancer and you can't work because you're getting chemotherapy or you're recovering from surgery or having radiation, those types of bills pile up very, very fast, and there aren't a lot of organizations that are able to provide that kind of aid. So that is what we do. This past year, we gave out about $450,000 to about 600 Connecticut cancer patients and their families. So it's very real aid that is desperately needed.
Okay. And how did the foundation get started?
So we were started in 1987 by a former Yankee baseball player named John Ellis, who is a Connecticut native. He was raised in New London. And John lost a brother, a sister, and a sister-in-law, all to cancer, all before the age of 40. Yeah, it's a devastating disease. And he watched especially his brother struggle with the financial hardship that came along with it. And then John was diagnosed. He was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, also before the age of 40. And he was at Memorial Sloan Kettering being treated. He was with his then fiancee, now wife, Jane Ellis. And he looked at her and he made a promise. And he said, if I survive this, I'm moving back home. And I'm going to start a foundation to financially assist cancer patients. And so he did. He survived it. He is cancer-free 30 years later. And true to his word, he moved back home and started this foundation. And initially, you know, he looked at Jane and said, let's have a dinner. Let's just get some of my buddies from baseball together, and we'll put together a dinner and it'll be fun. And so they got Billy Martin and Whitey Ford and Mickey Mantle and got them all in the same room. And that was the start of the Connecticut Sports Foundation. They raised a lot of money that night. And we've had an annual celebrity dinner ever since. But you know, our main focus as we go through our day is to raise money to help cancer patients. We always sort of say our goal is to help more people and increase the amount we're able to give them.
Exactly. And Chuck, how do you guys choose the benefactor for the holiday show every year, and how did you come up with the idea of the Connecticut Sports Foundation for this year?
Well, we get a lot of requests because of the the popularity of the show and the prevalence of that show, the impact that this show can have on our community and helping folks in our community.
Okay.
I probably get a dozen requests from different benefactors throughout the year,
Right.
requesting us to consider them as a possible benefactor for the holiday show.
Okay.
And I want to set the record straight. Greater than even raising the money, that's not what we're really about. What we're really the power of our message from our show is the ability to tell that organization's story and the people that they help. We're raising awareness,
Okay.
and that's where the real power comes from in that show. It's not about the money in any way, but the
Right.
money's a nice ripple effect,
Exactly.
a positive ripple effect that comes from the production of the show. But ultimately, we start in early October. We start vetting the benefactors that have reached out to us to ask us to consider them for the holiday show. And when I say we, I really empower my students. I hand off the emails to the students and I tell them to do some research on these organizations, and then I have these groups report back to me and tell me that this is an organization that we really need to consider, and then we invite them in, and we invite them in to present to the students. As Terry came up a couple times, and we brought her in back to back on 2 days. The kids were so impressed with her presentation and what that group was all about. Well, they weren't easy. They put her through the grill. And,
They did.
and
They did.
asked-
That's
had a-
Did they?
Yeah.
They had a lot of great questions, and then they requested a follow-up visit from her. So she came up the next day because she was in the
Really?
running with another organization. The hardest part for me, of course, is letting down the organization that we didn't select.
Right, exactly.
But we never let them go. I
No.
always keep them, I carry them forward every year, no matter what. We look at them again as a potential. So even though they may not reach out to me, and we've done that in the past. I remember with the Shoreline Food Bank, the wonderful organization.
Sure,
And,
Great
they
absolutely.
came to us one year, and the kids, at that year, we had one of our own in our community that, a young girl that was in great need for some financial assistance. And so we selected her that year, but then the following year, we went right back to the Connecticut Shoreline Soup Kitchen and
Wow.
did a wonderful show for them.
Excellent. Excellent.
So it's really about empowering the students. They make the ultimate choice. And the purpose of that is because that's how I get the buy-in. That's how you get them motivated. You let them take responsibility for the show. They own it, they run with it, and they do great things with it.
I was so impressed when I met with them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're great students. They've got a terrific eye. They really have a gift for storytelling. Chuck does a fantastic job leading them. So I'm really excited about the documentaries that they're producing, because that is really, really helpful for us to, as Chuck said, tell the story. Cancer is so common
Oh, yeah.
that it can almost be a little difficult to put a face on it. And what Chuck and his students at HK are doing are helping us put a face on this disease and really who we are able to help, and it's powerful.
Exactly. And Chuck, I guess one thing we didn't talk about before is how did the holiday show get started? Were you obviously you weren't the first.
No, it was handed off to me by my predecessor, and so this is the 28th year. So it was already up and running for 10 years before I arrived at HK. And when I arrived, it was a much smaller operation, a much smaller show, and it's become like a snowball coming down the side of a mountain. It's gotten bigger and bigger every year, and it's just how far you got to rein it in every now and then. How much bigger can you take on while I'm trying to teach full time and do all the other things that are going on in life? But we have it down to a science, believe it or not. And December can be a stressful month for both myself and my students, but we somehow make it happen. I think the magic of the day, there's somebody always watching over us, and it all comes together in the end anyways. And it ends up being a pretty neat morning when we do the live show, which happens to be on Friday, December 23rd this year.
Okay, sure. Absolutely.
And we'll start the program will begin live at 8 a.m. and probably go anywhere between 11 and 12, depending on how much content we have and guests that we have to get through that morning.
Now what is the morning of the HK holiday show? Typically, what happens? How is it run? Obviously, you're taping everything for playback. It'll playback later.
Yeah. It's we broadcast it live, and it can also be seen on the World Wide Web. And I think we can get the control room to put that web address up. It can be seen, so you don't have to be a Comcast subscriber. You can see it anywhere in the world on the World Wide Web. We stream it live as well.
Excellent.
And that's a real nice, powerful tool. And we get a lot of past alumni and folks that have been looking for the holiday show. As I was telling Terry earlier, we had at one point during the show we get we were between 300 and 500 viewers at one time, because we're able to measure and then we're able to ping and see where these viewers are coming from. And we had viewers last year in Italy and England and Europe, different parts of Europe looking in on the show, and we're wondering, who are these people, that are watching, tuning into the, but it's probably family members of friends and past viewers that are aware of that show, that it always runs on the 23rd. Wherever the 23rd falls on, that's the day that it's been running for the last few years. So the morning of starts off with Terry's reaching out right now to a lot of other folks, families that have benefited from it, organizations and groups and individuals that have supported their organization. We invite them to come through. And then we have, in our own community, people that just want to give back. And so they stop in, and we have different schools that are bringing a chorus by. The school in-house, they're doing some fundraising right now, and they'll come by and present us a check. And we have some different choral groups that'll perform. Different a little bit this year, though, tying into the sports theme, is HK's always been famous for hosting this event called Mr. HK. It's kind of a mock of the the pageantry that goes on, but it's the guys putting on tuxedos and doing talent and so forth. So it's been a popular event. So that's going to be the main lighter side entertainment portion of the show, which is being taped in advance too, but we're going to save it and run it, kind of weave it in and out of the live telethon. So we're going to lighten things up along it. We're going to lighten things up every now and then. So while we're telling these sometimes can be very emotional and moving stories, it's important to keep some levity along the way, and we recognize the value that we want to be able to entertain our audience as well too. So, but the theme of that is all wrapped in and around the whole holidays and the Connecticut Sports Foundation theme.
Very nice. And Terry, as far as the partnership between the Connecticut Sports Foundation and the HK Holiday Show, your thoughts and your feelings between the way you guys are going to work together to get the word out on this momentous cause?
Yeah, we've already been working together really, really well.
Okay.
Like I said, I came in October, and I was really impressed with Chuck, and his whole setup at HK is fabulous. And the students are wonderful. I've set up 3 different student teams to work on 3 different patient stories. Okay. Plus, there's a student team that's highlighting a new fundraiser that we're building out. It's not a new fundraiser, but we're building it out this year, called the Cycle Against Cancer. It's an indoor cycling spin fundraiser that will be at multiple locations in March. So working with the students has just been fantastic. I think the event itself sounds like so much fun. I cannot wait for it. I'm really excited to see all the talent, and I'm having a really good time putting the interviews together. We're so grateful for the opportunity that the holiday show has afforded us, because we've been doing this for 30 years. We've given out over $4.5 million to Connecticut cancer patients. Wow. Some over 4,500 families. But a lot of people still don't know who we are. Right. And so this will really help us get the word out about what we do and how other people can help us help cancer patients. Exactly. It's good stuff.
And obviously all the money raised goes to the Connecticut Sports Foundation. I guess how is that, and then it's dispersed how?
We work with oncology social workers at the different hospitals and cancer centers.
All right.
So they help people apply, provide the necessary paperwork, and then we provide aid. And the oncology social workers tell us the average time between when the patient gets an application and the time they receive a check is about 2 weeks, which is very fast.
Very quick.
It's pretty quick.
Very fast.
Would you guys mind sticking around for another segment?
Sure.
All right. We'll be right back.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
Every day, the people in our community rally in support of United Way as we strive together to make a big impact to change lives in Middlesex County. From our main streets to our institutions, from our neighborhoods to our town halls and our classrooms, we're working with our partners to create a stronger community. It's an inspiring effort, and we invite you to join us. Volunteer, donate, live united.
And welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. Sitting here with Terry and Chuck from the HK Holiday Show and the Connecticut Sports Foundation. Guys, welcome back.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Chuck, we were talking during the first segment about the the HK Holiday Show and how it got started. And as far as I know we talked about it in the first segment, the work aspect of things. How important and how supportive is the community as far as the holiday show goes?
The community is very supportive. Without them, we wouldn't have a holiday show. They're the ones that end up supporting us. So I feel like we're putting together a show to, to bring a message to the community, and they respond amazingly. Their response is I'm always so surprised and amazed by the response that we get, the generosity of the people and the businesses in our community that step up.
Okay.
I mean, I've already get a dozen emails this year. Who have you selected for the benefactor this year? Who do I make the check out to?
Right.
So they kind of check into us with us, and I have a local dentist office up in the Middletown area that's already somehow they do an internal fundraising, and they send a representative in a check every year to the holiday show. So without the community, we couldn't do this. And there's another elderly woman in our community who reached out to me. She said she's going to be making a blanket, and she wants to put it in our raffle. We do a fishbowl giveaway.
That was actually going to be my next question.
The purpose of that fishbowl is, and this is where a lot of businesses step up, a lot of wonderful businesses up and down the shoreline will donate gift cards or actually make a monetary donation.
Right.
And what we do is for everyone who makes a $25 or more pledge donation to the holiday show, their name goes in a fishbowl, and periodically, randomly throughout the show, we pull these names. And we had so many gifts donated to us last year. I would say that at least 50% of the people that called in and donated that morning ended up getting a prize worth more than the value of what their donation was, because the
Really?
prizes were amazing. So it's an incentive that works. It works very well. And from the restaurants up and down the Connecticut shoreline and the Middletown area, all through the Connecticut River Valley, the businesses really step up and they help us, and they recognize that they're playing the role of a good neighbor, and they know the importance of that.
Right. And you mentioned during the first segment that you see alumni that stop by and help out.
Yeah, it's always a special day. A lot of students that have graduated from Haddam Killenworth that have been part of this program will say that this was probably one of the most special moments one of the most memorable moments that they have in their high school career. And that's good, because that's I guess the hidden little secret here is that they get it. The value of giving back feels kind of good.
Exactly.
That's something I noticed immediately when I met with the kids.
Right.
Is these kids are so excited about the opportunity to give back to the community. It's very powerful from them. It comes off them in waves, and so I'm really excited to see what they do with this.
Exactly. And Chuck, one of the things that we didn't talk about yet. Obviously, you have to have talent, and for each segment of basically all your students, how do you choose who does what the day of the show?
Well, one of the roles of a teacher is that I've been observing these kids all year long. So far, I've had them, in my program for 3 or 4 months, and some for a couple of years. I've got some returning kids, and actually, it's the group of returning kids. I have an honors video digital communication class. They're the core group that's really behind the backbone of the production of this show. They ultimately are the ones that they're the ones out doing the stories and the documentaries. So they play the key critical behind-the-scene roles, from producing, directing. What we do is, for instance, that's a 4-hour telethon. We'll rotate a different director, and no one director, even in a professional environment, could be in a hot seat directing a show that has 5, 6 cameras, and the cameras in multiple locations for 4 hours. So we do a rotation of the kids that have really proven themselves as, that do a real good job of being the quarterback of the team, and let them put the headset on, and they're directing it. And it's amazing to sit back and watch it, because they do a wonderful job. So there's experiences going on every day in my program that give them opportunities, kind of grooming them for this big event. And then for the talent portion, the folks that feel more confident in front of the camera, unlike myself, they'll actually come in and audition. We have those auditions in the next couple of weeks. They'll come in, the students that are interested will actually audition. We give them a prepared script. They work with another person interested in being the co-host for the show, and we'll team them up, and we actually put them on camera, and we actually have them do an introduction to a segment. And from that, I involve some of my student leadership team, and then some other faculty members at our school to help me make the ultimate choice. Because it's really important is that we're putting so much work in behind the scenes. We want to make sure that we're putting our best forward, that's going to best represent us and make us look good while we're putting it on. So it's a bit of a and the kids get that, and they're fine with that. And, again, it's tough choices that you have to make because I might get a dozen kids auditioning for the 6 slots or even more in most cases, but they understand. And then what I'll always do is there'll be other opportunities for those students that really wanted to be on camera. I find those opportunities for them, so they'll get a chance no matter what to be on camera, but they may not have may not be the mainstay talent. And,
exactly.
But it's a nice opportunity for them because then when I make those assignments, then those kids have to do some research, and then we tell them who they're going to be interviewing based on the guests that we know that are coming, and they kind of develop some good inquiry-based questions and really get prepared for that event.
Terry, how time-consuming, I guess, are the documentaries that you guys are putting together for the video packages for the holiday show?
Well, that question is probably better for Chuck, just only because I help get the people to be interviewed.
Okay.
But they go and they spend a couple hours with each patient family, interviewing them, getting footage and that sort of thing, and then they go back to their editing rooms and edit it and take the footage that they've got and the interviews that they've got and tell a very compelling story. It's my impression that it takes quite a long time, but I fortunately only had to do the arranging of getting the people in the room together.
How many people does it normally take to be interviewed?
We have, for this event, we have 4 documentaries are being made, 3 patient stories, and then 1 mini documentary on the cycle against cancer, which is one of our big fundraisers that will be happening in March.
Correct.
It's an indoor spinning fundraiser.
Yeah.
It's very excited about that, but they will be telling the story of Bryn Levitsky, who is from Salem, who is battling leukemia. She's doing really well, but it's her 3rd battle with leukemia. So, we were able to help her family, and that was great for them.
Okay.
Another one is Liv, and she is from Essex, she's from Deep River. Sorry, she's from Deep River. Her mom and Brittany are there to tell Liv's story. She was diagnosed at 2 years old.
Wow.
And is doing great today. Started 1st grade. This year.
Excellent.
She's adorable. And then the 3rd story is Gavin, who is in remission for leukemia. And he and his mom, and I think his little sister were interviewed. Excellent. And so we're telling those stories about these kids. I mean, pediatric cancer, too.
Oh, yeah.
Adult cancer is hard enough, right? Pediatric cancer, if you have a child with cancer, one parent is, at least one parent is out of work for the duration until that child is better.
Correct.
And so you lose that income, and often it's not uncommon that the parent that's out of work is also carrying the insurance.
Right.
So we had a family last year where the mom was out of work, she was carrying the insurance. Not only did they lose her income, they're paying their insurance premium out of pocket every month. So this is something, and this is why pediatric cancer patients need, their families need even more aid sometimes. They are just so financially devastated by cancer. And that's why we're glad to be able to tell this story, raise awareness about these families and the other many families that we help.
So how does one become eligible for funds from the Connecticut Sports Foundation?
Well, really you have to, if you've been diagnosed with cancer and you live in Connecticut, you're eligible. We did just start, this past year, we've started a partnership with 3 hospitals in the state, which has allowed us to double the amount of money we're giving to those patients. Really? So that's been great. So Yale, Hartford, and Lawrence Memorial Hospital, we have partnerships with them. Right. We've been able to double the amount of aid that we're giving their patients.
Excellent.
So we're looking to build that partnership program with more hospitals and double the aid at more hospitals. But we still do have financial assistance available for cancer patients being treated at other hospitals.
Okay.
However, if you're at Yale, Hartford, or L&M, it's a bigger pot.
Okay. All right. And Chuck, as far as the holiday show, again, if people want to watch it, when, where, and what time?
Again, the live show goes off on Friday, December 23rd.
All right.
Starts at 8 a.m., probably goes through just before noontime.
All right.
There will be encore presentations.
Excellent.
You folks are watching this show on Channel 19.
19, correct.
That telethon can be found on Channel 18, which is the educational access station, and also on the World Wide Web. You simply go to the website holidayshow.org. And Chris will put that up on the screen for you. And you can access that. There's a link in there that will take you to the live broadcast when you go to that webpage. And then in addition to that, the day of the telethon or the encore presentations, we're going to be running encore presentations of the telethon 3 times a day, so you can't miss it, between Christmas and New Year's.
Nice.
And you can call the number on the bottom of the screen that'll take you right to the phones where you're able to make a donation to this wonderful organization and help these local Connecticut families that are in need get through these difficult times.
And I was going to say one thing you and I didn't talk about yet, and I'm sure he shows up and helps for the holiday show. That would be Chris Morgan.
Yeah, the guy behind the scenes here. Chris is one of my former students, a wonderful student, and he comes up every year and is a great big help to us in pulling the show. That's one of the wonderful things about that holiday show is it brings out volunteers like himself and others that come on. It's all all hands on deck and helping out. We're very lucky to have him and some of the other alumni that stopped by that day just to say hello and help us out as well too.
Exactly. And Terry, how does the foundation split up the funds to be given out to the family?
So we work with the oncology social workers at all the hospitals.
Right,
so they will. No, that's okay. So they'll help people apply.
Right.
We have a one-page application process. We ask for tax return, a copy of the bill that they need help with. And so when we're working with the hospitals that we have partnerships with, the hospitals actually can administer the aid, which is themselves. That's fabulous. That means if someone is in need, they can go to see their social worker and they can have aid very, very quickly. Even with us, our staff meets every Monday morning, goes over the applications that we've received in-house, makes allocations, and cut checks. And that's why, if someone is concerned about their mortgage payment or their car payment, by the time that next payment is due, if they apply quickly and get us our paperwork, they'll have aid from us.
Wow. All right.
And we work very hard to really identify people facing financial hardship and give them aid in a way that is both timely and dignified.
All right. Well, Terry and Chuck, I want to thank you guys for coming down tonight. Hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Thanks.
That's tonight's show. I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks. Good night, and we'll see you next week.